Hadirin yang kami hormati,
distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we've had in-depth discussion on hospification. Now we'll move to another topic that is also crucial in continuing.
Biosecurity kini berada di garis depan.
This industry in Indonesia, biosecurity is in the forefront in handling foot-and-mouth disease and lumpy skin disease. The impact is not just on animal health, but also in the continuity of livestock industry, trade, and stability of national food availability. Now we'll be talking about the perspective of business, government, regulators. We will talk about the overall implementation of biosecurity. The first panelist is an important figure. He's the head of Gapos Pindo, an organization that represents the voices of national business operation, the national supply chain award from MLA, LFA, LEP. So we have the head, the president of government, Mr. Didi Purwanto.
Panelis kedua berasal dari institusi strategis yang berperan langsung dalam pengawasan lalu lintas hewan ternak dan produk hewan. Beliau adalah Direktur Standar Karantina Hewan dari Badan Karantina Indonesia.
So from quarantine agency, he's also the head of quarantine and from 2021 till 2024. Let's welcome the Director for Animal Quarantine Standards, Dr. Wisnu Wasisaputra.
Baiklah, selanjutnya setelah memberikan dua.
Next, let's greet our moderator. He is a professional who is highly experienced in his field with long experience in animal health. He will be our moderator today. Now, let's call in Dr. Afan Yusuf from OSFED. Afan Yusuf from OSFED. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for the discussion session, Dr. Afan will moderate this. The floor is yours. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, participants of Lab Expo 2025. This afternoon, we will go into the second discussion panel where we will discuss the application of biosecurity for FMD and LSD disease in Indonesia. There's some presentations that will be presented by the speakers, and I will give a presentation on our joint program with LMA on the biosecurity implementation. The first presentation will be by Pak Didi, followed by presentation by Dr. Wisnu Wasisan about the policy of biosecurity for animal transportation. Can we have the slides? Okay. Thank you.
Bapak Ibu sekalian,
Ladies and gentlemen, we still remember when we went through the Idul Fitri in 2022. I still remember on the fourth or fifth day of Lebaran, suddenly our WhatsApp group was suddenly busy because we got news that we got reinfected by FMD after we got LSD in the film much before that, which was quite something to hurt our livestock. MLA responded quickly for this FMD outbreak by establishing a project to increasing biosecurity in feedlots. The project that we did, we called it Indonesia Biosecurity Support. It was actually a project that focused on strengthening the feedlot capacity to strengthen its biosecurity. The purpose is so that we can jointly identify the risk factor in feedlot to reduce infection of FMD and LSD, and that the feedlot doesn't get huge loss during the outbreak of FMD and LSD. The biosecurity principles, briefly, is a strategy and integrated approach that includes to prevent disease. But we tend to look at it as something complicated, expensive, something that we need to do repeatedly, and it becomes a burden. Although when the FMD started in 2020. The vaccine was not available, so all stakeholders were thinking about how to prevent FMD and LSD during the outbreak. The approach that we did is first through. This is one of the tools that we also always use when we have discussion with feedlots and stakeholders to understand the transmission pathway for the disease to enter the facilities, because that's the essence of biosecurity. Biosecurity is how we identify the disease pathway and we create intervention to prevent the entrance of disease through that transmission pathway. So if you look at here, this pathway actually can be through staff, transportation, flies, etc. The methodology that we used at the time, in cooperation with the feedlots, first we created a lot of high quality technical materials regarding biosecurity, disinfectants, and how to do vaccination. You can access our website to see the materials that we already prepared. And outside, there are also some material that you can take home with you as a reference. And then we did workshops with representatives from feedlots to identify the pathways in the feedlots, and then we visit the feedlots to do risk assessment to find factors that contribute to transmission on the entrance of disease to the feedlot. From there, then we did the recommendation report, which contains interventions that can be implemented by feedlots to strengthen their biosecurity, and we did regular follow-up to monitor the intervention and the impact on the feedlots. And then the biggest question was how expensive is the biosecurity intervention that we can do. And the second question is how sustainable can the biosecurity be implemented. Hence, in addition to that, we always use cost-effective principle. You can see in this chart, we can discuss it together about the level of protection level that you want. We can make a high protection level, especially, for example, if you want to have a score 990, but it will be costly. Or we can have a lower protection level, which is, let's say, 80 with more cost-effective costs. So we discuss this with feedlots so that they can ensure that their biosecurity measures is cost effective. Because effective, in simple terms, practical, effective in doing it. It's evidence-based or science-based and fit for purpose. And something that we need to underline is cost-effective biosecurity is not perfect, because we are not going to pursue 100% biosecurity. So what we try to find is the most cost-effective biosecurity, but sustainably carried out. And we don't want it to be a blocker to normal activities, and it's not something that we discuss every day to change. As a result, we managed to collaborate with 37 feedlot facilities, which represent 75% of the industry. And we created 228 recommendations, and 75% of it is implemented by feedlots. As for the impact, so we managed to improve biosecurity across the industry. Second, there is a decrease of the inappropriate disinfectant use, and better understanding of disease transmission, and increased confidence in biosecurity practices. Ladies and gentlemen, what about the detail of implementation of biosecurity? That will be presented by the next speaker. And the current moment, this moment is the most the correct moment to discuss biosecurity to prevent the FMD and LSD, because we are going through to Idul Adha, and at this time currently there are a lot of animal transportations that have a risk of the spread of FMD and LSD. Normally, this is the moment where the case of FMD and LSD increases. That's why we need to strengthen our biosecurity to ensure that our feedlots are safeguarded. For the next material, Pak Didi will do the presentation, but before that, I'll read the CV of Pak Didi. He is currently the director of PT Karunia Alam Sentosa Abadi, or PT KASA, one of the biggest feedlots in Indonesia. He is also the head of ISP since from 2019 to 2023, and he's currently head of Gapus Pindo. Pak Didi will explain further in details about what I explained before about the implementation of biosecurity in the farms or feedlots. Thank you. I will stand up so that I can read the slides, my slides. This is a good moment. I hope this will be a good moment. Like Dr. Hafan mentioned about the collaboration with feedlot, but if a feedlot doesn't realize that biosecurity is the life and death of its feedlot, then for 100 years we have had problems with biosecurity with FMD. And after that, after 100 years, then it was declared clear in 1990 by, at the time it's called NOTWA, or it used to be called OIE. After 100 years free, and then surprisingly we had a big tragedy in 2022. Then we started to have FMD again, and it was like that hit us hugely, and it changed the structure of cattle population in Indonesia, and it also changed the trauma of the business players changed because it was extraordinary, and also roadmap of livestock changed totally. That became an important point. Everything changed because of the tragedy. If we look at here, this is a problem. That year, the government was highly responsive in 2022. Uh, at the time, in the beginning, we didn't have a vaccine, but then the government did their best so that in 2023, from pandemic, it changed into endemic. However, on the 2024, there is another increase, although it wasn't like the beginning because feedlots had already hit a good habit. Why? But that's why prevention control needs to be done intensively, holistically, and everyone must be involved. And you have to be loyal and with integrity. There are some cases emerge at the end of the year. In 2022 and 2023, but there was a decrease of a population of cattle, including members of Kapustindo. They were really careful because they used to accumulate the population in one place. In 2024, then there was a new escalation, and in 2024, during the import, the recent import, it shouldn't be different because that actually to fulfill the national demand. The government, with its anticipation, was really great. They divided the area into three zones: yellow, red, and green. They created regulations as much as possible to anticipate that the outbreak doesn't go to more provinces. But it turns out that Java that has the highest population of cattle, and the cases are the highest. But if we look at the slide, the transport from Java to enter the yellow areas was allowed. We know the characteristics of FMD. We know the characteristics of LSD. The virus is very easy to spread. So with such condition, the pattern of sales selling had to be changed because carrying out biosecurity control in areas like in an archipelagic area like Indonesia is not easy. So this is homework. That's why we need to have comprehensive handling and consistently involving all stakeholders, and there should be no one needs to work hard. First is vaccination. The great thing about vaccination is that it is not only done by one party there, but all parties must be concerned because you have to know the type of vaccine. At that time, we had problems because we need to know this stereotype. Because there was a problem there because for 32 years we didn't have no experience of that. And then we have to be aware about what needed to be done after the cattle was vaccinated. And we know that it is not done, it is not easy to be done with the condition of farming in Indonesia, which is not like the feedlot. So biosecurity has to be carried out the, in accordance with the condition of the farmers. So reporting, evaluation, transportation, monitoring needed to be changed.
I'll give you an example around LSD. LSD was discovered earlier, prior to FMD. However, it didn't come viral. It wasn't too prominent compared to FMD. We see it was first reported, then it disappeared in the sense that maybe there wasn't much attention. Once it was discovered and control was implemented, then we started to see by the end of the year, usually during the long journey or Transportation, we see the escalation. The increase in cases correlated with the increase in livestock traffic. The largest cases occurred in livestock source provinces in East Java and West and Central Java. Why? Because the availability of vaccine was not the same way, did not correlate to the outbreak and the difficulty in controlling vectors. With LSD, it's about vectors carrying the virus. So we had the issue of the disease, the controlling the vector. There was no lack of harmonization and control between the stakeholders. They involved the central government, regional government, everybody had to involve, and this required harmonization. The method of our cultivation spread across many smallholders. This became part of the solution for LSD, especially with the implementation of biosecurity, which is not easy to do amongst farmers. And we know that the quality of our feed very much correlates with the speed of spread of disease. Our trade is also important. Therefore, what had to be done, Gapus we know was fully cognizant. We understood that the industry is moving in an endemic and pandemic zone. As Bhavan said, we had to work hard. Vaccination on incoming cattle and very super strict biosecurity became a habit as part of the operations of the feedlot. Comprehensive standard facilities and infrastructure for biosecurity is now being done very strictly. Securing the buffer zone, thank you for cooperation with MLA and everyone. We cannot just secure the region, but also the external areas are influential because the virus cannot be controlled easily, and we know this. Routine lab testing, guarantee of healthy cattle on the farm, or for transportation, and active collaboration with all stakeholders and government. This is crucial. Therefore, the free zone is important because biosecurity is being done strictly in the outbreak areas, but without specific standards, this can become an issue. Biosecurity implementation, we know that biosecurity is a front line in the process of controlling this disease. Feedlots are aware, Gapus we know is aware that we applied biosecurity and biosafety, not just on the cattle, but also the workers. The goal is for the animal themselves, the people. The goals include having plants there because vectors can be in the plants and the environment is. So there are three key parts. These are important elements as part of the biosecurity steps. This became a collaboration on system procedure implemented by all feedlots, starting from the incoming cattle unloaded at the port, working with quarantine. They have changed their methods for handling incoming cattle. Everything, there's sanitation, there's disinfectant spraying, and all units used for transportation are thoroughly checked prior to transporting cattle from the port to the farm. Upon arriving at the farm, we have very strict biosecurity standards. If you go to the farm, I don't think it's easy for you to access farms. All biosecurity operation in the feedlot is done using very strict standards for the incoming vehicles. Visitors are strictly recorded. This is quite extraordinary. And we know that biosecurity is not just the environment, everything can be done properly in a radius of 5 to 10 kilometers within the feedlot cannot be controlled because they do not have the capacity to do so because there are many farmers there. Therefore, Gapus Pino cooperated with the government, even with friends from MLA, Life Corp, and they provided support to provide the surrounding environment. This is crucial. This is an example of what I've done. We have implemented vaccinating program in the buffer zone. We implemented biosecurity, building awareness. The feedlot could be extraordinary, but it's the surrounding area. may pose issues. So we decided to think about the management of each feedlot. Feedlot management when it comes to transportation change, they have biosecurity declarations. Without that, they cannot be transported. There has to be a travel document, health examination certificate from the local veterinary authority, the examination certificate including whether vaccination be done, and all being done with a standard set by the regulation in accordance with the Ministry of Ag regulation and circular from the Nation Quarantine Agency. So once everything is done, one of the methods for control, starting for the small parts of feedlot, is to make sure the area is, we have free compartments because vaccination is done, biosecurity is done, and the animals transported are guaranteed to be healthy. So we had a discussion with Kapus Pindo MLA, OSFET, DGLAHS, Indonesia Quarantine Agency, higher education, and universities. We met in an FDG to have a regulation for areas that are free of the disease. And to do so, we follow biosecurity implementation SOPs, recording, reporting, evaluation are structured. No cases are found within a specified period. Special traffic regulation, because this is a matter of control. So this part is important. Close oversight from all veterinary authority stakeholders. So this is the hope that we hope that this is what we have. So Abu Spino has thought about the environment and also areas in East Java and Central Java. We cooperate to help the farmers there through the government to secure this. We had the support with LifeCorp MLA. We had a program to secure them against the spread of LSD. These are photos. These are ongoing in East Java, Central Java, and buffer zones. We have attempted to safeguard this area to ensure that this free compartment process is ongoing because we have had very good support. That's all from me. Due to the limited time, I hope we can discuss everything that must be done for LSD, FMD. We have to resolve this together. Thank you. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Pa Didi. Very well, ladies and gentlemen. So Pa Didi has talked about the implementation of biosecurity in feedlots, and what are the short-term plans and long-term plans for feedlots to maintain the biosecurity. So now we will continue with material presented by Dr. Wisnu regarding biosecurity policies for transportation. Allow me to read his CV. Is a doctor with he is a director for animal standards in the Indonesia Quarantine Agency, and he was also head of animal safety and biosecurity. He received his degree from IPB, from University Gajah Mada, and his PhD from Hasanuddin University in Makassar. So today, Dr. Wisnu will be talking about biosecurity measures for livestock transportation. Allow me to stand. Thank you. God's peace and mercy upon us all. Good afternoon. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Surely, as a country, we do not wish to have FMD and LSD. Any country that has been free of these diseases do not wish the country to experience FMD and LSD. But we see that the territory is so vast, from west to the east. Our coastline is amongst the second longest after Canada. So certainly our challenge at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, is how we can collaborate in order to overcome and to reinforce this mutual reinforcement.
Mohon maaf. Iya, untuk operator tadi, slide-nya.
Nah, tentunya kita sama-sama bagaimana bisa
So together, we need to prevent the spread of FMD and LSD in Indonesia. So it was explained by Pak Didik. First time where FMD and LSD reemerged in 2022, we saw that eastern coastline from Sumatra, we are facing countries that were not free of FMD nor LSD. And last month, I would like to invite you, the head of a quarantine agency has invited us to prevent illegal importation. So let's stop illegal movement into Indonesia. So our colleagues from the Goat and Sheep Association, we've engaged them too. We are still finding illegal importation of animals in Aceh. And certainly biosecurity that cannot stand alone. We have to form, this must be done communally. In the mainland of Kalimantan, we are working with Malaysia and Brunei in developing single quarantine in this one island of Kalimantan. And now with MLA, we very much welcome the cooperation with Australia. This has been done in order to reinforce the biosecurity in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, with regards to transportation, we do need a common understanding about vectors and other contamination that can enter through transportation to prevent its spread to other areas. From a regulatory standpoint, we have the Indonesian government has issued many regulations. It's in the second slide. First of all, regarding regulation from Quarantine Agency, Government Regulation 29, we refer to WOA, and the Indonesian Quarantine Authority also has a regulation concerning quarantine measures for people, means of transport, equipment, water, and wrapping materials. So this has been reinforced through regulation. And also regulation regarding procedures for quarantine measures and integrated supervision. We also have circular from the head of Indonesian Quarantine Authority to prevent, so we can ensure that transportation is truly free of FMD. On this issue, of course, biosecurity as a concept is to prevent the introduction of pathogens into our territory. And certainly, this is an important part of preventing the spread of FMD in animals, people, plants, the environment. So we have to do this together. There is a matter of the basic principles of biosecurity, the preventive aspects, the ability to respond, the ability to detect and diagnose, risk, and joint collaboration. So the quarantine labs in Indonesia and all the units of the 40 labs that we have, 32 units are able to test for FMD. We provide reinforcement for laboratories in the quarantine standard agencies in order to corroborate, to reinforce the prevention of FMD virus. When it comes to transportation and biosecurity, it is important for us to
mulai dari farm di awal,
detect the virus in the original farm,
kemudian terkait dengan
the
peralatannya,
truck, the
orangnya,
equipment, the
kemudian
personnel,
transportnya,
the transportation
kemudian terkait
process,
dengan pergerakan, peta pergerakan,
mapping of the
negara
movement,
dan
including quarantine measures,
tujuan
and
di areanya.
the destination
Nah, ini
area.
tentunya sama-sama
Certainly,
kita
this is
lakukan.
something we have to do jointly.
Ya, pada waktu awal ya.
So initially,
Jawa dan Sumatera untuk PMK.
where only Java and Sumatra had FMD, then it spread to Bali, West Nusa Tenggara, Sulawesi, and Kalimantan.
Peran dari kita bersama dan
This
bagaimana kita mencegah ya.
is a role that we all play together on the prevention of LSD.
Yang tertular hanya di
With
wilayah
LSD, the infected areas only Java and Sumatra,
karena tentunya kita juga dari Badan Karantina
because
lalu lintas dari daerah tertular dan
as Quality Authority, with transportation from infected areas to non-infected areas,
divaksin adalah 28
we allowed we stipulated 28 days after vaccination prior to the animal being transported.
pada waktu awal ya.
So initially,
Vaksin 28
when we established this 28 days post-vaccine period, this was an easy, and this is assuming the vaccine existed. So this is a joint commitment for vaccination. So the Ministry of Agriculture has had a program on 2 vaccines within a year. This is for people with livestock. So this is a collaboration that we've done. I appreciate Gapus Window for reinforcing the ring of vaccination around the quarantine areas. Thank you, Pak Didi. So this is to safeguard the feedlot, the quarantine installations as established. The job, the quarantine agency is not easy. My code is 724, 74 days, 24 hours a week. So certainly this is not an easy matter with the number of staff. We only have 7,000 people, even though we have an amalgamation from the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, so we have 7,000. And we compile, if we compile it with the customs, that means we have 15,000 personnel. But we do have a system that we have developed, which is prior notice. So all exporters, upon before sending their cattle to Indonesia, would send an L certificate. So we monitoring importation in Priok and Lampung and Palawan. We are already aware what time the ship will be docking. So this helps with the unloading and acceleration. We will also be developing the prior notice. It's not mandatory. We are building awareness about it. Mandatory is the filled out health certificate prior to the cattle and motor transportation being on the move. So this is done to conduct the lab processes. So we have AP, all the steps, which is AP, which is part of the quarantine, especially with importation. We have a quarantine period, and also inter-area, we have quarantine in the animal quarantine installation. This includes, when it comes to people and transportation, equipment, all transportation media and equipment things. And well, if the transportation is on a plane and they're wooden pallets. For plants, there's a mechanism for the incoming materials that may be pathogen-carrying materials would be destroyed. You have 3 minutes.
Kemudian terkait dengan
When it comes to biosecurity,
transportasi selama
transportation, throughout transportation, and post-transportation, there are many aspects that need to be reinforced, documentation and between areas for animals for the sacrificial ritual from Bima to Java. They are sealed on the truck, so even if the trucks are open, we would be aware of this where there are changes in the transportation
pemasukannya. Nah, untuk
media.
panduan
So
di
for
karantin kita juga sudah mengembangkan ya
we have cooperation with FAO on decontamination processes
dipakai
that can be utilized.
contoh untuk
For
dekontaminasi
example, for decontamination of people, the equipment in the yards, transportation, animal decontamination, and decontamination of the stables of the pens in the quarantine installation. So with regard to the impact, there are some
penyakit
risks such as spread of disease,
penyakit yang baru
new disease,
yang akan menjadi stres atau
stress in animals,
badan ya.
or they lose weight. The impact
Transmisi yang bisa
is
terpapar dengan
possible transmission
outbreak.
where this cause an outbreak.
Kan ada
This would
zoonosis.
could cause zoonosis
Ekonomi yang harus
and definitely certainly economic losses,
kemudian
trade rejection, and livestock deaths.
saya langsung aja ke
So I'll go straight to recommendations for reinforcement.
kan ada
We
beberapa
need
hal. Yang pertama adalah
to strengthen
digitalisasi pelacakan
digitization of livestock transportation tracing. It is important.
area.
So for each area,
Lalu lintas itu harus ada barcode
there needs to be a barcode or an ear tag that shows whether the animal has been vaccinated or not.
si sopir dan peternak
Education for drivers and farmers is crucial
lintaskan ya.
during the times that they're transporting animals. We need to ensure that if there are animal deaths during the journey, it should be reported to the quarantine
Bisa
officer so we can mitigate whether they should be destroyed in safe areas.
ini juga
Disinfection facilities,
minta
we requested this
di karantina atau fasilitas
from the quarantine office or
untuk antar area. Kemudian penegakan hukum
any support that can be done.
juga menjadi bagian yang penting.
This is also an important part.
Belum lama juga mungkin kawan-kawan
And recently, you may have heard 2 days ago, we are still finding
2,9 ton
2.9 tons of boar meat coming from Sumatra to Java, and we have destroyed this.
ya, tentunya juga
And this is not easy. The information
kalaupun ada temuan terkait
that we need information if you see violations in quarantine, please don't hesitate to report this.
karantina ya. Kemudian
Report to quarantine.
investasi dan
Synergy amongst
penguatan
government agencies and business operators is part of our responsibility.
dan tentunya
We thank you and we appreciate
yang hadir
your
kali ini dan
attendance, and
tugas kita
this is part of our duties to strengthen, especially as we have this aspiration on having
ke depan menjadi
beef and dairy sufficiency
tentunya ini menjadi
and improving that. So
dari kita bersama dan
this will strengthen us all, and I believe we have the commitment.
program vaksinasi
If we commit to the vaccine program and if we adhere to biosecurity, certainly we are able to
dan swasembada daging dan susu.
achieve and reinforce the self-sufficiency in beef and dairy.
Dukung ya
And we are all supporting the reinforcement of biosecurity
rangka menjaga
in order to safeguard Indonesia and to improve Indonesia overall. And I'll return the floor to our moderator. Thank you so much. A round of applause for Dr. Wisnu for his presentation.
Okay, we have heard the presentations from two resource persons regarding the biosecurity implementation in feedlots and also about the biosecurity implementation for animal transportation. Now it's Q&A time. I will allow 3 questioners. Please raise your hand mention your name and your agency.
Baik, Bapak yang di sana satu.
One.
Ada lagi?
While waiting, please your question. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Bambang from PT Karunia Alam Tambadi in Lampung. My question is for Mr. Wisnu as the person responsible for the quarantine authority because we have now all feedlots
Melakukan biosecurity secara ketat.
have done strict biosecurity measures.
Yang mungkin
Regarding that, my question is, it is actually more suggestion. As feedlot business, we are facing obstacles when we are transporting animals adhering to the regulation you mentioned earlier. The problem is regarding the transportation of animal using online application. Our difficulty is
pengusaha peternakan feedlot
as feedlot operators when during holiday this is just a suggestion. I think the application needs to be updated so that when we
secara otomatis
put in the requirements, document requirements,
itu keluar.
it goes into the system and then the permit is issued. The problem now, it's still done by, the issuance is done by the quarantine officer, but the problem is sometimes the staff for the quarantine office has not, it's not monitoring the approval. So when we apply for approval, and if it is on holiday or in certain hours, we often have to wait for quite a long time. That's a suggestion, especially for the one in Lampung and Tanjung Api-Api. Thank you.
Baik, terima kasih Pak untuk
Thank you
pertanyaannya.
for the
Apakah
question.
ada pertanyaan lagi?
Any other question from the audience?
Kalau belum santai saja persilakan duduk.
If not,
Pertanyaan.
then I will ask Dr. Wisnu to answer the question.
Terima kasih
Thank you, Pak
atas
Bambang,
pertanyaannya ya.
for the question.
Terkait dengan
With
pesan
regard to the requirements of quarantine, we actually require the health certificates from the place of origin. This relates to veterinary certificate. There is an application
ditangani oleh
that is handled by
kesehatan hewan.
the Directorate of Animal Health, but
Eh,
at least
lab ya
I can provide an answer for you. The difference is this is something that we need to pay attention to regarding
rehabilitasi ini
the
sifatnya
service for
ya reguler.
transportation, especially during the holiday. There is an increase of transportation cases.
Indikasi-indikasi
So regarding
kemarin
quarantine,
kawan-kawan ya standby 7 hari
we actually
terkait dengan
make sure that
vaksinasi ya
our staff
vaksinasi
is
lanjutan
on standby for 70 hours, 77 days, 24 hours. And we will coordinate with the Ministry of Agriculture so that the system will run smoothly so that it can connect to the system
badan karantina.
at the quarantine authority.
Bisa namanya regulasi itu
In terms of regulation, of course,
hewan dan
no
peternakan
regulation is perfect. So if you have suggestions regarding the direction number 17, I think we will need to find even a better format. I think this will be the best because regarding
kewenangannya di kementerian pertanian
because the authority is under the Ministry of Agriculture, but we need to have a good coordination, because I also want to have the services provided in an effective way, in a simple way, because we already know about the status of the regions, we know what the risk of disease in Java, for instance, so that we can do a better surveillance. So this is something that we need to strengthen together. For example,
untuk Priok ya,
the
Priok
for Tanjung Priok, for instance, from the document of
lalu
release,
lintas di dalam
when the
itu
transportation,
itu menggunakan sertifikat
in
pelepasan karantina saja.
transportation within the one island, you don't need as before that, but between islands, then you have to use that system. Thank you.
Terima kasih Bu.
Thank you, Dr. Vishnu, for the answer for Pak Bambang's question. We still have 5 more minutes if you have questions to the resource persons, please. Pak Didi will add something. I think this is good. So we need to harmonize this, because quarantine actually protect the animal transportation, and then they have their animal there. So we need harmonization between the secular and the minister regulation. So whether you want to transport this from red zone to red zone to green zone, we need to harmonize this. As between regions, we need to break it down further, because we have so many islands, and other than islands, then we have provinces, districts, and sub-districts. So that we need the, the we cannot generalize these areas. The other thing, important thing is what is the ending? The ending is biosecurity, and if once you implement that and there is no disease, then you establish free zones. So for islands where things have not been well structured, one important thing is then you create different zones. So once the zone is declared through good and consistent assessments, there is no case, then you can declare it as a clear zone. So uh, otherwise, we will continue to discuss this endlessly. That's why I hope that this needs to be done soon. We realize that this is very important. Collaboration is a very important point. It is important that we have a common integrity on our the decisions, the same dedicates on how to maintain this in the long term. So Puspindo has already done that, and they need to be then specifically. So after it's done all the security measures, and then the animal is going to be transported to abattoir using the NITA SOP, following the regulation with the circular from Biosecurity Authority. They should be treated differently. I think we need to continue the discussion in a smaller discussion. So the zoning is part of the important thing that we need to. 100 years needs to be looked at as a lesson learned. But there is not a standard, so we need to do this as soon as possible. So we really hope that MLA, OSFET, that have collaborated with the quarantine authority. We need to further our discussion to create standards to declare the clear zones. Harmonization and regulation is important, and also interdepartmental measures. Thank you very much, Pak Didi, for the summary. I don't think I will to do for the summary because Pak Didi has already done it. So we hope that all the efforts that we have carried out to strengthen the biosecurity can can reduce the risk of spread of FMD. So this strengthening can be done collectively, harmoniously, and through cooperation between stakeholders. I think that concludes our panel discussion. Let's give the spokespersons a big round of applause. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih yang sebesar-besar.
Thank you to the panelists for the insights and perspectives shared in this discussion. For Pak Didik Purwanto from Gabus Pindo and Dr. Wisnu from the Quarantine Authority. So we would like to appreciate our moderator.
Pada diskusi panel hari ini.
As form of our appreciation, we would like to invite the moderator to hand out these merchandise for the two panelists. Big round of applause for Pak Didik. Big round of applause to Dr. Wisnu Wasi Saputra. Next, we will give out the certificate for Dr. Havan. Thank you very much for moderating this activity. Let's give them a big round of applause to Dr. Havan Yusuf. Once again, let's give a big round of applause for our panel discussion. For dear participants, we would like to encourage you to access the file of the presentations of the panelists through the QR code that you can see on the slide.